Mark, what you reading?
Just Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods #3.
Really? I was just reading the same thing.
Oh, you want to talk about it?
Let's go ahead and talk about it. But before we do that though, let's take a look at this.
Okay.
We are back with another edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. This time we're talking about Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods #3. Before we get started, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell for the notifications so you're alerted whenever we upload new content, and don't forget to leave some comments down below. So I think that covers everything. So we're now on the back half of the Revenge of the Gods. We have #3 and #4, and we have Wonder Woman #78 left. So this was a good issue.
I
This was pretty
liked it
good.
a lot. Like, I just finished reading it right before we hopped on here, and this book has everything. It was fun. It was great for where it takes place in the event as well. It kind of hit all the right notes for like the storytelling thing. We got some big reveals. I'm excited to talk about it.
Exactly. I was just going to say that we got some answers to some things that we were thinking about. So, but we start with Wonder Woman, basically almost kind of doing her poor me at the
Yeah,
very beginning almost.
returning to man's world to see the utter destruction of it that she wasn't able to stop. She feels partly
Right.
responsible for it, having fell for the Hera's little mischievous offering. Become a god, save your sisters, and it was all just a trick. So she's a god looking at this destruction she couldn't stop and just feeling partly responsible.
Right. And so Cheetah, being the good friend she says, tells her it's not your fault. Well, it's not all your fault.
Yeah, you had a fantastic line while they're groveling. Like, did you really think that you could stop the goddess Hera on your own? And what are we really going to do? But that doesn't like excuse us from having to try, kind of thing.
Right. Right. And so then we flash to Mount Olympus, where Billy is in his cage, is in his cell, his jail cell, and he tries one
Oh,
more
was that a
time.
finger? That's where my mind went straight to. Yo, was that a finger?
Yeah.
My mind went straight to Freddy in the cell in the movie. Oh, was that a finger? I was waiting for it
So
to happen.
he calls down the magic lightning again, and he's right back to where the god Shazam left him at the end of the last issue, which is basically bereft of all of his powers. He basically has nothing of Shazam or Hercules or Atlas or Zeus or Achilles or Mercury. He's got nothing there.
Yeah, but he can
He's
still
just
transform, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know if he'd still have these abilities or not, but he's still able to bounce in and out. And he makes a comment that it feels like every time he transforms, or the more he tries, the faster he's losing his power.
right. And so he is then now sitting there doing his poor me type of a thing, and we get another talking animal. We seem to get a lot of talking animals in these Wonder Woman
Yeah,
books.
yeah, and they're all rodents.
Exactly. And so we end up with this talking rodent who says, you haven't really given up that easily, have you?" When we find out that it is a rat who actually is it Hecate or Hecate? I don't know. I'm not
I
sure.
think Hecate would be like Spanish, so I'm going with
Okay.
Hecate.
Okay. Hecate.
Like there's a
Um,
picante, right?
right.
Picante.
Right. Okay. Right. Good idea. I'm going with Hecate. So it's Hecate, who basically is there. She was the one who came to him or who sent the vision to him before. And right after she arrives there, then also arrives Yara Flor, who manages to get to him as well. And they are working together, Yara Flor and Hecate. And so Hecate was able to get in her guise as a rat. She was able to get the key to the cell, and so she gave it to Yara Flor, who then unlocks Billy, lets him out. But before they go any further, because he basically has, he looks like a 98-year-old man walking around the dungeon. She basically, Hecate, puts a spell over him and makes him look like this probably like 22-year-old
Priestess.
person who is basically a priestess of Hecate. So that and it's funny because the first thing he has to say is, "So this is what it feels like to have," and he gets cut off. So we,
Yeah, he was gonna have that adolescent boy train of thought. They had to chop it off. Nope, let's not go there.
right, right.
It was funny because
Clearly,
Hecate says, "Keep your mouth shut, or the illusion will vanish."
right,
And in the very next panel, he's running his mouth. He's actually running his mouth for the entire time after that comment, pretty much.
right, right.
I'm like, wait a
So
minute.
then we switch to the palace gardens where Aphrodite and Hermes are there, and Hermes is basically putting the moves on Aphrodite until he sees a certain priestess that we just mentioned.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems like he just puts his move on anything that moves.
Right, exactly. Um, and so he basically, which upsets Aphrodite, obviously. And before you know it, Billy and the guys of the priestess and Yara Floor and Hecate are basically going to attack, and they're going to start fighting. And
The
it's funny
important,
because
important, important thing here, though,
right,
before that, right, is they run into Hippolyta. Hippolyta comes to see
right,
them and
right,
juices Billy back up,
correct,
blesses Billy because Billy's stuck with this curse from the wizard or this depowering. Turns out he didn't take his powers away. It's like he did some. He applied something to his powers that's sucking off his power. So he gets blessed by Hippolyta, who's kind of in between worlds right now. So
right.
that
And there are a lot of really good lines in this book. As the three of them are running through the castle after having heard Hermes and Aphrodite going at it, Billy says the line, "I can't believe that gods are so shallow." And Hecate says, "Have you not read any mythology?"
human mythology. Yeah, yeah.
And so they come upon Hippolyta, who, again, puts the finger on Billy's forehead, and suddenly he has his powers back, or some powers back, anyway. Um, and from there, we then go back to Man's World, where we find Wonder Woman and Cheetah again, and they're about to fight basically almost every mythological creature that you could possibly think of in this battle.
Yeah, there's definitely a Pegasus or two.
Correct. There's Pegasus. Looks like
Minotaur,
there's a Minotaur. There's a Centaur.
Centaur,
Hermes happens to be there. He gets around really fast, obviously. So he's there as well.
the Griffin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
Hermes does get around pretty fast, doesn't he?
he does. He's all over the place.
But and it's weird because like this, I was like, is this the same Hermes that we were just with? Because this one's wearing a different outfit, different color. He had because the Hermes that we've seen has been shrouded like Jay Garrett with the red and the hat and
Hmm.
everything. If you go back a couple of pages, he's wearing the red and he's like he's got the sash and he's
Hmm.
barefooted with wings on his ankles. And this Hermes is anything but that one. He's wearing a
Right.
white tunic with
Right.
a little gold thing on his shoulder. He's wearing like extravagant boots.
Right. The
So
only
I
thing
was
he's
like,
wearing actually is the helmet. Is the only thing that he's wearing together. But I'm wondering if that is
"Mhm."
more a byproduct of the fact that there were two artists on this issue as opposed to one.
There you go. Yeah, because he still has the
So
wings on his shoes in this. But I just thought that was wild, getting the different designs like that, like 2 pages apart.
right, right. Yep. And so Steve Trevor arrives, and he has his reunion with Diana, um,
Very short lived.
and exactly right. And then they are very soon after that joined by Yara Floor and the captain. Oh, Captain, my captain. Um,
Oh, Captain. Yeah, he needs a name.
he does. Um, And then there is this gorgeous, I think, double page spread of the battle that is occurring. Let me
Yeah,
again while
it
you're
was
doing that.
great. Yeah, that was fantastic. And the little dialogue. Sometimes one must look to the face of fortune and say no, despite the odds, against the gods, come what may.
Yeah, that's just a
And who's
beautiful
this?
2 pages
Who's
there.
that fella that's really full of himself?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, it was a great way
That
to
might
kick
be
off the battle.
the person in a few issues back. Well, maybe 15 or so issues back. Her
It's
brother
definitely.
was there.
I don't know.
Wonder Woman's brother.
Yeah, but the battle's fantastic. You get from there, you kind of just get a few action pages Wonder Woman fighting Hermes and ends up getting the lasso of truth on him. He's like, "Why
Right.
can't this break?" And she's like,
Who
"It's the
who is
lasso of truth."
who is back with his red sash? I just happened to notice.
Yeah, yeah, back with the red sash. Once you hear that 2-page splash, he says that if it can't be broken, it can still be weaponized. And he grabs it, and she screams, "Hermie, don't!" Who knows what he does to it, but he grabs it. And then the next thing you know, just a big explosion that pretty much rocks the whole battlefield, and everyone's just kind of standing up to a desolate battlefield at that point. And in walks the man in black. Like he comes
Exactly.
walking through the dust, calm as hell, and Billy just falls in front of him out of the sky. Oh, that really hurt. He tells me, "You don't look well, my friend, as your very lifeblood is being sapped from your veins." He's like, "Hoodie guy, what are you doing here?" And doesn't even really look up. He just says, "I've come to help," and just smacks an arrow out of the sky. Whomp.
Mhm.
I'm like, "What?" He said, "I don't." And he's like, "Where's your army if you're going to help with these odds?" He's like, "I don't need an army. For Ares, god of war, is an army unto himself." So they got the man on their back right chill. I don't know how this is
Exactly.
going to go over with the team. Might be a little trust issues, but
I was going to say, Wonder Woman and Ares do not have the best of relationships.
no. But he looks dope, and it's something that we haven't seen. Like as soon as he pulls the I don't know, the watch salesman jacket off, the
Hmm.
duster. He's got the spikes on his shoulder. I thought it was cool. The big golden chest plate. The design is dope. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's
Yeah,
do
because
this.
he's usually wearing that big helmet with the
Mhm.
nose panel down the center and everything, and you really can't even see his face. That's the way he's been portrayed for the most
So I'm
part.
just
But
gonna go out on a limb here, just to go out on a limb. So like if the gods are ruling with fear, like to the utter point of subjugation, like there's probably gonna be not much war, just people passively living life, worshiping gods that they're afraid of versus going to war. So he's probably not big on humans because if he feeds off war, like their plan probably is going to be probably just a selfish move on his part. Like
right.
luckily his goals are going to align with ours in this one, and we got Ares on our team.
Hmm. Yeah. And so that tells us that it tells us that it's going to continue from there into Wonder Woman number 798. So
Yeah,
we'll
which
get
should
Wonder
be a
Woman
blast.
798 exactly, and then we'll come back for the fourth and final
That's a
issue
tie-in
after that.
to the new champion of Shazam, which was that 4-issue mini series focusing on Mary, which we've already seen her in this series. But so that's going to be a big Wonder Woman Mary Marvel issue. So I'm excited for that one. It's going to be pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's not the end of the issue because there's a backup story,
No,
just like there have been in each of them. This one
Nubia,
having to do with another god instead. Um, Basically, we start off with Nubia and Hippolyta.
right where
Um,
we left him.
right,
This
exactly.
is the siege of Themyscira, where Hades sent his army. This has been the backup story running through all of them. It's just
Mhm.
continuing what's going on Themyscira. We got Nubia and the Amazonians,
Mhm.
just still just battling off Hades' army. In that last issue, we saw that a couple of them retreated to the armory. So this one picks up with them on the battlefield, shrouded in some really cool like mythological armor. They got like gold wings on or certain weapons, and for most of the pages it's really just the battle, just like that last issue was. It wasn't much to those first few pages. There's some really cool action scenes.
Right. And Hades has his dialogue basically saying he's not worried because eventually everyone ends up in Hades.
He's like, "Oh, you think I'm working for Hera? How cute." He's
Yeah.
like, "No, this my job is to watch people die, and
Right.
y'all are all gonna die no matter what. I'm just here for the fun." I'm
Right.
like, "This is
Exactly.
awesome." Yeah, this
Bring me
dude
some
don't care.
popcorn.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Um,
cool. It's unfortunate realization for Nubia to know that there's no reasoning with him. There's no peaceful solution, and she just says, "Fine, you force my hand. I don't want to kill a god, but I will." Calls for her homegirl. Her homegirl's not there, and she looks up, and one of her friends had left to go do something.
mhm. Right. And so Nubia basically says that there is a sacrifice that is needed. And so she decides that she's going to sacrifice herself. But before she can
Philippus,
actually, what's that?
Philippus,
Oh, was that? I'm sorry. What did it say?
yeah,
Nubia?
yeah.
Uh, well,
Nubia turns and calls for Philippus, and she's gone. And she had
right,
ushered herself off to the garden because they feel like they need some backup.
right. Um, and so, yeah, it was Philippus, not, they're all Greek to me. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Amazon number 7 walked
exactly.
away.
Exactly. I can't keep track of all these
There's a
groups.
lot of them.
There are. So basically, Hippolyta says, stay thy hand. You don't need to kill yourself. Your love is all the
Yeah.
strength that she needs. Basically,
Yeah, and the show of faith to the gods. If belief is what y'all need to come back and help us in the show of faith to it, she was gonna not live herself.
right.
And
And
Hippolyta shows up.
right.
Shows up. Apparently they know each other, I guess.
I'm guessing.
They're friends. And
I'm
she
hoping.
says, she says, we need help. And like these Hippolyta and her clearly have a history. And she came to help her. So we like, where's everyone been? She's like, we've been working on it quietly. And I'm not anymore. The moment to strike is now. And she has like their little Avengers moment where only the female gods show up. It's
Right.
like a girl power moment.
Right.
And it's
So we
one
had
of the
Artemis,
characters
Hestia,
again.
Aphrodite, Demeter, and Athena, basically.
Yeah, and so Aphrodite wasn't that the one from earlier?
Yes, she was the one that was with Hermes before.
Yeah, so we have now like you see like them playing like they're sitting there getting along with each other, but really working in the winds behind each other's backs. So now they got like a team of gods on their side. So now we're about to have like Revenge of the Gods versus gods.
Right. Exactly. And their job is basically to battle Hades and basically push everyone back into Hades, close the door to Hades, which was opened as part of the Lazarus planet.
The
Um,
onslaught.
yeah, exactly. And set everything right. So we'll find out exactly, how that goes in issue number 4. Um, but yeah, there was a lot going on this issue. I mean, before we went on camera, you said, there's zombies, there's gods, there's like anything.
Mythological weapons, there's big reveals, there's
Right.
chicks making out. This book has everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No matter what you look for in a comic book, you will find it in a panel in here
Yeah,
somewhere.
Wonder Woman and Trevor, Hippolyta and Philippa. Like,
Mm,
we got it all right here
exactly.
in Revenge of the Gods.
Right.
Whatever
And
you like, it's in here.
and on top of that, because it's one thing to have all that, but on top of that, it also moves the story forward.
Dude, and it was all delivered proper. It was all in the moment. Nothing was shoehorned in there to have that much content. The book is a thicker book, but that's because it has a backup story. So it's still just a regular sized book. So Wilson, Clunan, Conrad, Tormey, all these people are really doing a good job working together on this one. The only thing that is my point of contention is I wanted to see, which I'm sure it's coming, but the wizard juiced up from siphoning Billy's power with that spell. I want to.
Mhm.
That's probably going to be saved for the final fight, though. Have Hera and a juiced up wizard throwing down. But I was excited to see that.
Yeah, because they have to reset Billy obviously for his new series coming out with Mark Wade and Dan Mora. So obviously, not that it's a surprise to anyone, but obviously he will get everything back. Um,
We
which
think so.
it's a really good premise for his series that he's going to be doing. I don't know if you read anything about what Mark Wade's going to be doing in Shazam,
No.
but his big thing is, what if the 6 gods that power Billy, what if one of the 6 wanted to take over?
Oh wow.
Like, what if Solomon finally said, you know what, I don't need the other 5. I'm going to take over. Yeah, I'm part of Billy, but I'm going to take over.
Well,
Instead of
judging how Solomon has been for Billy the past 10 years, I feel like he hasn't been participating at all. So it'd be nice if he showed up and did something, some wisdom here and there.
how done he showed up.
Yeah, about time. Where you been?
Yeah, I just think it's a good premise to have
Yeah,
the internal 6. Kind of so. But anyway, that's a whole different. That's a story for a different deep dive.
yeah.
So, but yeah. So again, we got basically Wonder Woman 6798 coming out this Wednesday, and then next week we should have the Revenge of the Gods number 4. So we look forward to that. But that's going to be it for this DC Comics deep dive. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, comment down below so we know how it is we're doing. And that's going to be it. We will be back next week with our next edition. But I am Paul. He,
Is Mark, but
our Legion.
you're now leaving sector 2815.
That may be the best we've ever
No,
done.
that was the smoothest